Hey, kitty girls, it's Sunday, June 29th, 2025, and welcome to Cubs Out Loud Drag Race T-Time, where we're going to be discussing All Stars Season 10, the episodes for Bracket 3, also known as Wicked Good, Stagecooch, and the Golden Bitchelor. And for those of you that don't know, my name's Gary, and with me is my ever-fabulous co-host.
Hello, everyone. It's Damon. Hi.
Welcome
you
to
doing?
our little show.
Hmm.
So we're going to be discussing this particular season in terms of brackets. We did bracket 1, bracket 2. Now we're on to the royal purple bracket number 3, with these 6 queens that have been brought together. And I will say this bracket is not like the other brackets. So while each bracket kind of set us up to know what to expect, it wasn't quite that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I find it interesting.
Yeah. This was a interesting batch of queens.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, and this is gonna sound bad, it was very lopsided.
Okay.
Like there were queens that were very high placers and went like almost winning. There was a very long-term, like decorated queen who has been on the show so many years and so many times
Mm-hmm.
and has gotten up there, often. And then you have some very early outs and low ranking girls
Mm-hmm.
that in a lot of ways some of them we haven't seen in a while.
Right.
So that was just very interesting to me.
Yeah. So in this particular bracket, we have Acid Betty, Alyssa Hunter, Cynthia
Hmm.
Lee Fontaine, aka Cuckoo, Diabetti, Denali, and Ginger Minch.
Right.
I find it interesting that they put the 2 Bettys in the same bracket.
Yeah. But they also put the 2 Brooks in the other one, but they're, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and the thing is, they're not related to each other. I mean, actually, in either bracket,
No.
they're not related to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last bracket, there was a lot of talk about how the Brooks handle themselves in terms of family
Hmm.
dynamics, which I thought was very funny.
That was
Anyways,
cute. Yes.
so with that being said, should we jump into our first segment?
Let's do this.
Racers, start your engines, and may the best drag queen win.
Unless you've got bursitis on your shoulder and then you can't, be bothered to lift your arm.
May the best drag queen win. I'm not even going to lift my arm.
Yeah, her elbow's going to be next. If her shoulder's bothering her, her elbow's going to be next.
And then it's going to be her neck and her back.
Right.
And
yeah. So, anyways, this has put the pedal to the metal. So these are our overall thoughts in 3 particular kind of categories. We call them serves, swerves, and nerves. So the serves are the positive things. The swerves are the negative things you should have probably avoided on this particular lap of the race. And then the nerve could be really, really positive or really, really negative. Just kind of depends on how it plays itself out. As in, yes, mama, you totally did that and you deserve all the flowers. Or as in, what in the fuck were you thinking? Because
right.
It was highly questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Damon, what do you think about for serves in these particular episodes?
I said Steve Lowe.
I thought you were pointing at your shirt.
I mean, fair. This is true. Whatever the queens say these days is very accurate given this bracket. But I wait. Where's my fan? Where's my shade fan?
I'm like, right, girl. I'm like, you call it out the Alyssa, Dia.
Oh, that's later. That's later.
That whole thing.
Yes, but no, the Gary had already we do this document separately. I'm gonna give it to you to discuss the runway that I really, really loved.
Okay, so to stop the suspension of mystery, it's the paper runway challenge. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that the queens had to make an entire outfit out of paper and bring it with them
Mm-hmm.
to the show, I got goosebumps talking about it. It's so thoughtfully like different and innovative, and that they had to craft an entire outfit. I mean, Acid got kudos for being the only one that did hair made out of paper, which honestly, I feel they all should have gotten that in their package, like as a baseline, and been like, your hair also needs to be made out of paper. Come on.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
but I mean, the volume of structure to some of
Mm-hmm.
these outfits and things was very interesting to me. So, I mean, there's already been
Yeah.
criticism about, like when they did the Miley runway, how the hell did Denali get the teddy bear there? Unless it's
Right.
inflatable, which it probably was. I mean, like, there was just some things about it. It's like, but it's also infamous on All Stars that they bring way more than they can in a regular season.
Yeah.
And some
Yeah.
of them, they just drive it to the studio. Like
Right.
they don't even try to, like, pack it or whatever. So
And fly. Yeah. Like
yeah.
and the runway was just a very, I agree with you, it was a very unique choice. There's a lot of unique and fun takes on it.
Mhm.
Um and like looking at a lot of what they did, some went, for lack of a better phrase, like let's put stuff on like a base and then make it all paper, kind of like Denali's. While I love Denali's was very intricate
Mhm.
and the big like
The
winged fox
fox.
kind of moment
Yeah.
was stunning. Like the base of it, like the big part of it is like just like it's paper on a there's a fabric to
Mhm.
that background. But then you have like um Acid Betty's look. I was just floored at that.
Mhm.
Like the
Mhm.
idea behind it. I'm assuming, and again, we haven't seen, like Acid probably hasn't done a behind the scenes, but I will assume that it is all paper. Knowing Acid's creativity and
Right.
ability, I bet it is all paper. And you had to really like those are really amazing. And you had the swing and a miss and like foul ball or whatever you want to call it. With love you, Cynthia, love you, but that was garbage. Um, you
I've
went to Party City.
Yeah, I have thoughts on that. But no, I think overall it's a challenge.
Yeah,
It's an unconventional material challenge, but instead of having them do it in the workroom
yeah.
like a ball,
Mm-hmm.
which was really what happened in the first episode of this bracket, Wicked Good was where they had to make outfits and be in pairs, which I thought
Uh-huh.
was kind of meh. I didn't really
Uh-huh.
get blown away by
Mm-hmm.
that one.
Yep.
This time, the unconventional material had to be brought with them. And
Right.
honestly, I really liked what Ginger did. I liked
Yes.
it more when she explained it, which I know is kind of breaking a rule because if you have to explain the outfit, that it's not executing.
Yeah.
But I liked the fact that she explained that she made it by hand and she hand selected and typed up all of the like manuscript type documents based on the fact that it was William Shakespeare, and every single page was from a play that referenced drag, as in
Right.
like a male taking on the female role.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I see you, meta bitch. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like layer upon layer upon layer. Got it.
Yep.
I just thought that was, I mean, I do think they all did amazing well too. What you're saying about Acid, like, I knew what was going to happen. The moment she walked out, I was like, here we go. I'm like, Michelle's not going to let this go. Like, she's going to get her comment in.
Right.
I
Well, it was
I appreciated how she handled the PSA. Although my thought is it's too late because there's already been another season filmed,
mm-hmm.
probably by this point, so those queens aren't going to get the memo.
Right.
And I don't know if anyone's going to listen to her anyways. But I mean, Bussy talked about it in their episode as well, and I agree with them. We have seen a lot of period costume pieces, especially the Marie Antoinette look.
Right.
However, Acid Betty did it different and
Right.
really executed on it. Like, it
Yeah.
was so crisp, like, in how it was presented. I was just, yeah, it was something else.
Absolutely. And then I, again, love you, Michelle, but like, Ginger's wasn't Marie Antoinette. Totally different time period.
Correct.
So I get that you're upset about it being a thing, but like, pump your brakes. Not every, I just don't think Michelle likes period pieces.
I
Like
think she's tired of
costume
looking
stuff.
at them.
Yeah.
As a judge, I think she's like, I don't want to see any more bodysuits with like stars stuck on them. I don't want to
Mhm.
see, like certain, and that's where I think she's coming from. What I wish she had said in the PSA was, I'm going to warn you now, if you come on this show and I'm judging and you bring one of these outfits, like this Elizabethan thing or this Marie Antoinette thing, you better blow my tits off. And there's hardly anything of them left.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? And be like, if you're going to do it, then you better knock it out of orbit. Don't even try. Which I think is a
Right.
fair statement to make as a judge, to be like, we have seen this so many times. I mean, I didn't really watch Project Runway, but I could see a consistent like baseline judge telling designers, listen, either you bring me something that really turns it on its head, or don't do it,
Right. That's fair. That is fair.
But that's not quite how she said it. So
No, that's not how she said it. Anyway, it's fine. Someone else will put Marie Antoinette on there, and then she'll bitch again. That's just the way it is.
I mean, if I was going to be on the show, which I'm never going to be, but if I was going to be on the show and I was going to bring a Marie Antoinette, I would bring a Marie Antoinette outfit, and I don't think there's any way you can get away with it. You would bring it and you would make it out of flash paper,
Oh, and
and
then
you would
just
literally set it on fire and let it burn off.
yeah, yeah. Like, haha, you thought I was doing Marie Antoinette.
Right,
I'm
as
not.
in, it's not what you think. Of course, if you revealed to a bodysuit underneath, that would be like the double fuck you. But anyways, and in like chartreuse green.
I this is a postcard to Michelle Visage, and just
All right.
like, and they're like, it's a green bodysuit.
Well, what would be
Dun,
better
dun,
is if it was a green bodysuit and it was in that like fabric that you could, not sequins, but in the fabric that you could like change by
Oh
brushing
yeah,
it. Because then I would
yeah.
change it from green to leopard print.
Right.
Because then I'm trying to hit all the things, and I would of course would probably have the word Jersey written across the midriff or something.
Right.
Anyways,
Right.
nothing like pandering.
Uh-huh.
So, anyways,
Oh, sorry. I just see the big like Peg Bundy hair, and you come in the Maria Antoinette, because it's not period, right? Or you have the Maria Antoinette hair on,
mm-hmm.
and then you flash it up, and then you pull the hair off, and then you've got the bodysuit in the green, and then you flip up the Peg Bundy hair, and then you like rub this down, and you get all of the jersey. Yeah. The leopard. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways,
Yeah. Anyway.
all right. So let's move on to
Yes.
swerves. Oh, I find this very interesting what you wrote. What are you giving swerves for?
There for a moment. My apologies. Oh, lovely. My internet cable is unstable. That's always fun to see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. I don't know what was going on. I put a swerve for no singular challenges. Like this bracket in particular, all three challenges were done in like pairs or trios. And yes, with Golden Bitchelor, you can technically say they were individuals, but a good meat of the challenge was them doing the pair date.
Right.
So given I wrote when the first episode when they said they're doing it in pair when they were judging them in pairs, I wrote judging in pairs, really, in this economy?
Mm,
They're just because again, they only have 3 episodes to wow you.
mm-hmm.
And if we're gonna judge them in pairs, that could be good or bad, depending on the pair.
Right.
Um, and I just feel like judging or just doing it in pairs, it doesn't give the queens a chance to shine. And I think unlike other brackets, there wasn't an individual challenge this time, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my swerve on this particular piece.
Would you consider that they didn't do it because then it would be very difficult to handle things from a production side because one queen in particular may rise to the occasion almost nearly all the time? I mean,
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, like you make a fair point, Gary. That is a very fair point.
and I'm not justifying what they did. I'm
Yeah,
with you
no, no.
on the weirdness of like not having an individual challenge.
But no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree in a way that that's something I didn't think of because it does make sense in a way. Like if they, for example, the last challenge, the Golden Bitchelor challenge, which is an improv comedy challenge, Ginger is going to dominate that no matter what. I'm sorry, I love y'all, but Ginger has been doing theater forever. She knows this shit.
Right.
So she's going to do amazing in this, no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to beat her in that specific challenge.
Right.
So anyway, that part.
Agree.
Gary,
All
you
right.
got a lot of swerves.
Well, just a couple. So for the Stagecooch episode, I'm giving swerves to Ginger and Denali for their country performance runways. So not the actual runway, but what they wore for the Stagecooch production, like performance number wise.
Okay.
I absolutely did not like Denali's, and I did not think it was country.
Mm-hmm.
By any means in the imagination. Like, I don't even see a modern, young country starlet wearing that fucking outfit. Ginger's, while country, honestly to me looked like a modified pre-existing piece. Like she had a pre-existing bodysuit that she added tassel straps to and fringe chaps.
Right.
And I'm not criticizing the creativity of it, but I just wasn't wasn't at the same level. Like Acid Betty's LED glowing outfit. Mama, like who has that besides Raja? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So it was a swerve for me. I was like, no, man.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Those aren't working for me. It also, yeah. I mean, sometimes it felt very apparent that like they knew in advance what they were doing when they arrived. For some of these like challenges, so I don't know. And this one in particular, I was like, Denali's by far was the biggest sore thumb for me. I was like, that doesn't look anything like country. Like, I'm sorry, it looks like a dance suit that fair. Added a whole bunch of feather shit to.
Yeah, and again, maybe that was the point. Maybe that's what happened. Like, I'm just being blunt. I just have to wonder what was the prompt. Like, what were they given? Were they told country? Because a lot of this, and especially with the first, Winter Brackets, I saw a lot of purple. And I was like, were these supposed to be your looks for the shoot or what? Like, did they tell you? Anyway, there's something that, like, it caught me specifically by, like, I was like, there's a lot of purple in this runway. I was kind of wondering what was going on, or the performances. And I was like, were they told something like country purple? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
But again, I agree with you that there wasn't a lot of country in those looks,
Mm-hmm.
even as the bevies in a way. And I was just like, either they weren't given the right prompt or the prompt was too vague.
Yeah, I mean that could also very well be the case.
Yeah,
It's hard to say. They might have told him country. They might have told him western. They
yeah.
might have said like country western ish musical
They may have just told
something.
them chaps.
Yeah, I don't know. Cowgirl.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. It
hard to
just
say.
I agree. It just felt it those out some of the outfits felt very off. I think for a lot of them it felt very off.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
just so you know, like throwing a cowboy hat on an outfit does not make it country. Just FYI, queens out there.
Right.
Um
And then I
and
also
then
have Swerve. I'm sorry. Like
no,
I do want to give my thoughts about what happened here. So Cynthia Lee Fontaine's paper runway. So one of the things that did not work, unfortunately, is everybody else, the other five queens, really brought it.
mm-hmm.
And Cuckoo's looked, it just paled in comparison. Like it was
Right.
so not to the level. I
Yeah.
think, honestly, this is my guess. I haven't heard anything confirm this. I think something happened with what she was going to wear and she pivoted and had to
Mhm.
make something happen at the last minute.
Maybe.
Because the fact that it looked so much like she just went out and bought paper party decorations and strung them on like this thing that she made as a wrap that's supposed to look like a ribbon. Like, I think to me, it screamed design challenge
Uh-huh.
runway. And that's where it just couldn't compare.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
knew it. I mean, she did so well in presenting it, like carrying it off and holding, and describing it and explaining and whatever. And yet at the same time, when she got the critiques and the queens talked about it, she was perfectly content with understanding that she was kind of in the doghouse over it. That like it
Yeah.
just was not it.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm like,
I
how can you be so comfortable with that and not try to defend it
mm-hmm.
unless you know it wasn't good, and there's a very good reason why it wasn't very good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, it that makes sense. And I would love to know if that was actually the case. If this is what you actually brought, dear, oh no. Are like it's like I feel if that again, if this is what you actually brought,
right. I mean, did the
this is
designer bow out on you at the last fucking minute? Did they not
right.
execute or deliver, and you had to like throw
Yeah,
something together? I don't know.
right. Like that's kind of what it's feeling like to me, and that's maybe because this like I'm just like it looks like something she made herself. Like I
Mhm.
don't want to be that person. This looks like something she threw together last minute, made herself, had to do it, make it work. This
Right.
doesn't look like something that you asked a designer to build for you. Because if you asked a designer to build this for you, you should fire that designer immediately.
Mm. Yeah.
Because this looked like, and this is me, like that green like wrap around her arms and torso. It looks like she took a green like banner or something and just threw it around herself. It didn't even look like themed. It looked
Mm.
like it was unfolded paper.
Yeah.
So maybe, God, I hope so. This was a like, oh shit, my original outfit burned in a fire. I got to do something really quick.
Right.
Something.
Right.
Or it ripped like it's paper, so it's entirely possible that it just ripped.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Not sure.
it was a swing and a miss.
All right. Moving on to nerves. Oh boy. Damon. Listen, audience,
This is
we're gonna talk about it.
Yes, this isn't a like it took nerve. This is got on my last. Um, I wrote down Dia beating a dead horse, and this most recent episode, and that's probably why this is so like in my head, is this was the oddest like like fantasy delusion, something along those lines in Daya's mind. So if you didn't see the episode, at the start of the episode, we have the MVQ ceremony, and Daya on the couch in front of everybody brings up like the conversation that she had in Untuck the day before, um, or about how Alyssa's going to give her points. And Alyssa kind of told her, I'm going to do it based on consistency. And that's what she's going to base it on. And Daya, in her brain, somehow put two and two together and made 15 and somehow indicated to her that she was going to get Alyssa's point. Alyssa did not say she was going to give her point directly to Daya. Alyssa said she was going to give it based on consistency. Daya apparently assumed that she had been consistently good, and that's why she should have gotten the point, because she was a top in last week's challenge and in the bottom this time. And then Alyssa gives her point to Cynthia, which puts Alyssa at 4, or Cynthia at 4 points, which puts her in the lead in the top 3. Daya freaks out, gets pissed off, whatever. Doesn't say anything that night, but the next day in the workroom, when they're another week in the workroom, and Ginger's having her conversation about her not getting her flowers for her win, and them saying that they don't feel like she won it, and then she mentions Alyssa specifically in a way. Daya takes this moment to chime in and go into this whole spiel about how I should have given you a fucking, like, you didn't give me a point, you didn't honor your word. And I was just like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't understand what's going on. Like, one, this is a competition. Like, one, it's a competition.
Right.
Two, what you hear or heard and what the person actually said are probably two totally separate things. Right. And that's what I feel was the issue here. But you don't let it go. You bring it up 2 more times. Again when they're getting ready the following day, and then again when it's untucked. And you go on and on and on. And by that point, like, everybody's like done. And I was done too. I was done that after that, the thing in the morning.
Right.
Like,
right.
Because it was just like, girl, like, this, to be blunt, it's in the past. She's already given the point away. What are you expecting to have happen? Are you expecting her to, like, and I get that you want her to understand where you're coming from, but she doesn't have to.
Right.
She owes you nothing, and she doesn't owe you the opportunity to listen to your explanation.
Right.
So please shut up.
So
go ahead.
I have a couple ideas. The one that I'm hopeful for is that Daya has absolutely zero idea how she comes across on this particular issue until it airs. And then she's going to see how batshit crazy she kind of looks about it.
Right.
I mean, I think Bussy had said, like, a theory is that, production prompted her, but she didn't realize that production was going to, like, that in the edit, they were going to include every single time. Do you know what I mean? And so, she looks like she's, losing her mind over this.
Right.
Or she knew what she was doing the entire time, and it was for television.
Fair. Like,
she knew what production was asking for. She knew what they wanted, and she was still doing it intentionally for the screen time. And, it's a tactic. It's a thing. I don't know if people appreciated it or liked it necessarily a whole lot. Right.
I didn't. Anyway.
I think they, yeah, I agree with you. It was definitely beating a dead horse. I mean, the very last time, the fact that they're showing shots of the other queens and they are just over it. Like the entire bracket is done with this. And she's not. That to me actually was kind of funny.
Because she kept, and the worst part was she kept interrupting Denali, who was trying to speak on something. And I was just like, baby. And I loved, like, I forget what she said, but Denali's like, I think Denali kind of did her, like, go ahead. So like,
right.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
Yeah. So my nerves is the denial of Denali, which is not about that incident that you were just talking about where she couldn't talk untucked. This was about like how, to me, it seemed that she did better than she got credit for. And she did not get a win that I think she deserved. And it's just, it's a matter of opinion. And yes, Rue gets to make the final decision.
Right.
I understand that. But again, this bracket felt manipulated as in a production, like, you know, perspective. And the fact that Denali wasn't really being given as much recognition as I felt as they deserve was bothering me. Yeah. So that I thought took nerve to not give her the recognition, because she didn't really flop.
No.
You know?
No.
So, I mean, not that any of them had a disastrous moment, quote unquote, but still.
Right.
Yeah.
I just am. Yeah, I'm gonna, I know I'll be talking about her a little later, but I feel like this, Denali did really well. And I think there should have been a changing of everything, and to me, in a sense. Like, I think the first week, and this is me being honest with, like, this is how I feel about it. The first week, since they judged them in pairs, I feel like the winning pair was Denali and Acid Betty.
Okay.
That was my opinion in episode 1. Episode 2, I don't think they judged them in pairs. They kind of did it individually. I'm okay with giving Ginger that win only because her lyrics were really good and her runway was decent. But I would have given it to Cynthia. I think she surprised me with her. Now, her runway wasn't the greatest. It looked nice. They were very complimentary of it, which I thought was weird. But her performance in the challenge was good. So to me, that was Ginger and Cynthia Lee Fontaine. And then the final episode, this most recent one, yes, again, Ginger, like, did really well. But I also would have given it to Denali. In my opinion. They made some random shit up about this misplacement of her dog wasn't nervous or it wasn't needy, it was more nervous, and I'm just like, or whatever, and I'm just like, have you been around a needy person?
Right.
Anyway, but that was just me. That was just my sort of thing. Oh, that part right there. So,
all right. You ready to move on to our next segment?
Let's do it.
All right, it's time for our snaps and eye rolls, aka the highs and the lows. So these are the hits and misses that came out of this particular bracket that we want to shine a light on, in regards to what we think has happened for these, amongst these group of 6. Damon, who are you giving snaps to?
So I've been talking about her for a bit, but I'm giving my snaps to Denali and her package for this season. I thought she did really well.
Hmm.
I loved her from her stunning um like promo look to the fox in this most recent episode. I think she did some amazing like artistry in regards to drag.
Hmm.
I loved her, and I don't know if um, Acid helped her with the design challenge look that she built. But I loved it. I thought it looked really good. And then going from there, I know you weren't a big fan of the Stagecooch look, but I'm not. I'm meh. That's a challenge thing. They all probably had to do something.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
That's fine. We've talked about that enough. Um, but the Miley Cyrus with the big fucking bear, like that
Hmm.
felt very elevated in a way to me.
Well, I
Yes, it
mean,
was similar to what she wear, but go ahead.
right, but I think that met the prompt. Like, I had an
Yeah.
issue when they were talking about Alyssa Hunter's like Bob Mackie knockoff and
Uh-huh.
Denali's. I thought Denali's was better because
Yeah.
it was an homage. It was very much like it, but it was also a little dragified,
Uh-huh.
and I just thought it was better.
Yeah. Agree. Agree. I agree. I think Denali did some really great work this season, this bracket.
Right.
And my humblest opinion is that I would love to see her come back. She's the weak queen out of the ones that are in the, eliminated
Hmm.
girls that
Hmm.
I feel I would love to see come back,
Right.
in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree with that. For me, I'm giving snaps to the bracket 3 shakeup.
Mm.
I think officially the Queens succeeded in subverting what production was trying to do,
Oh.
because the person that it seemed to me was the most likely to make the top 3 didn't, and they ended up with that third spot going to somebody who I don't think production was planning on moving ahead.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And so I think Acid stuck to the plan, and the plan was, I think she figured out very quickly in the beginning. She talked a good game, and I think she figured out quickly in the beginning she's not making it.
Mm-hmm.
And so once that kind of cemented in, I think she was like, screw this noise. Who's most likely to make it? If it's not going to be me, and she probably also figured out it wasn't going to be Alyssa,
Mm-hmm.
then it became pretty obvious who the top 3 contenders were. Who the top 2 was super obvious.
Mm-hmm.
That third spot was kind of a wild card within their bracket, and I think Acid was like very seriously campaigning to figure out how to make that happen. Hence, it played out the way it did at the very end of this last
Mm-hmm.
episode, in episode 9. And so I want them to get the recognition for, as a team making that thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
It was dramatic, not, high drama, but emotions were high, especially because Cynthia had to have just gotten such a bad critique
Mm-hmm.
for her runway, even though she did good, in my opinion, in the improv
Wow.
challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was funny how they were like, you broke the one rule of improv and you said no, but then you immediately followed it up, like you redirected that thing,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, like she got good critiques in the challenge, but then that runway was just not
Yeah.
cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was a lot, like Bussy kind of indicated that this bracket was a little on the boring side, and I can see that in a way. In that, like, no offense, we kind of knew who was going through, like you said, with the exception of the last part,
Right.
the third place, as it were.
Right.
Um, and I hate to say this, similar to like the first bracket, we get all the rules and we know everything that's happening. This third bracket, we know everything that's coming in a way. We know how they're going to start it. We know how it's going to end in a way. But beyond that, and we're used to it. We know what's going on. We kind of have an idea, and kind of I can see where that could be a little boring. Um, I'm a little glad in a way that they didn't give the same challenges every time, because by the third time, I do think it would have gotten a little repetitive. But this one was unique in that it gave us an opportunity to see how, to be blunt, a loser could be a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cynthia didn't win a challenge,
Right.
yet somehow she's moving forward.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Agreed. So moving on to eye rolls.
I think we may be talking a little bit about the same thing, similar-ish.
I think so, but we might have different takes on it.
Okay. So I put down all roads lead to Minge. And to me, it felt a lot of the way this brackets from the beginning was built and designed for Ginger to get into the semifinal. With the exception of the design challenge, everything was in her wheelhouse. The second one was country, like music and writing lyrics and performing country music, which she's already done. The third challenge was improv, which she was stellar in. The first challenge was the design challenge, but they also made them do it in pairs. So she had someone that was going to work with her. She had Daya. But I think no matter who she got with her, if they had someone working with her, she had an opportunity to make it work.
Right.
I do think it's very funny that, and if she was acting, great job, Ginger. How shocked she was when she won the second week. How shocked she was that she won the lip sync. Surprised that she did, like, she won.
Well,
and
I mean, I'll say this: I didn't expect her to win the lip sync.
I didn't either.
I honestly thought it was going to go to Denali.
I did too.
And what I've heard as some after, discussion has been, is this another case of the Kenya Michaels Latrice Royale, where a park and bark was much more appealing than the throwing yourself all over the place?
Right. But I don't think so, because that song is a dance song. And it didn't need it. It doesn't work well for a park and bark. But depending on where Rue's head is and where things are going, but we know. But again, not that we know why it happened. We needed to propel Ginger forward. Like, that was the goal. The production goal was to get Ginger into the semifinals.
Right.
Like, that was it.
Right.
And that's the part for me that made this very odd. From the first week to this week, it was very odd. Having her and Daya win the first week, the design challenge, I thought was a bit of a stretch. The Stagecooch one, it made sense, and I kind of talked about this earlier. It made sense in a way, and then this one, it made sense in a way. But just the full-on manipulation of Ginger winning and being propelled forward, that's what made this bracket a little dull. It
Right.
dulled it a little bit.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I put down production's blowback question mark, and then in parentheses I wrote AKA the minge manipulation. And I agree with you. Like, I do think I would have been perfectly fine with Denali winning the extra point the Miley Cyrus week because I think she deserved it for the lip sync.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the weird thing is I'm beginning to wonder if the points matter in the semifinals.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm like, what the hell do you care about the who has how many points other than you're in the top 3?
Right.
So I'll be curious to see when we get to the semifinals if points do something. Like they rank you or place you in a certain order, or they like like if Ginger has the most points out of everybody the whole production at 8, that puts her at the very top lead.
Right.
Followed by Georges at 7.5, and then Irene at 7.
7.
So
And Lydia is also at 7.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, like does that do something? I don't know. Hard to say, but I feel like that's a thing. So I think production didn't, either they don't care or they didn't realize how obvious it was going to become that Ginger was the favorite and is expected to move on no matter what.
Right.
And that's what I mean by the minge manipulation is like, I do think Ginger honestly was genuinely surprised that she won in the second week on the lip sync battle. And there's also been some talk about whether or not she threw it in the third week on purpose to help get Daya the extra point to cement her point total because Ginger was already up there.
Right.
In the lead.
Right.
I kind of felt that way. But then again, at the same time, Ginger's not a hoofer. You know what I mean? Like, she can do a box step, but like that's not the same thing as like, throwing yourself all over the place.
And that song was a weird choice in the third episode. I've gotta say it. I didn't know
this is one of Rue's favorites. You know that, like, she hits the smoke and she just like loves to get her groove on because she was lip syncing right along with them, knew all the words, and I was like, this is in her iPod, girl. Like this is one of her, she plays this shit every single week. And
like
yes,
20-year-old iPod shuffle.
That's true. So even though we're 27 fucking seasons into this franchise just here in the US alone, you can still pull out songs that like we all don't necessarily know.
Right.
So yeah. But I do think that was it became obvious that it was happening, and I felt bad for just the cast and the audience because I think it became obvious that we all saw what was happening. And so I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they lost viewership. If people in this bracket were like, you know what? I don't think I care about this season anymore.
I mean,
and they just kind of stopped watching.
Right. And I think that I've heard that. I heard that like people were posting it online. Like I think Bussy talked about it in her recaps and how like Candy, the one that comes to mind is Candy is like waking up when like when they reach the semifinal. And I kind of feel that way in a way. But I don't know if that's necessarily because of the bracket itself or because of the format.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah. This was, again, like I was saying earlier, this is the third time we're going through this. While it's a new batch of queens and we're doing new challenges, this is the third time we're going through this, them strategizing and talking about points and winning and all of those things, forming. Like this was one of the first brackets, I will say, that alliances, quote unquote, weren't actively formed.
Right.
There were friendships, like past friendships, that I think played a major part in this bracket.
Right.
But no actual, like, quote unquote, alliances were created. Maybe you could say Ginger and Daya, but honestly never had a reason to play out. And Di
Right.
even acknowledges that in her 20-minute diatribe in the last this episode.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So
I do think people lost. I do think we lost out on
yeah.
viewers. I do think we lost viewers.
So let's talk about the thing that we weren't quite discussing earlier, about the Willem spilling tea thing. So
Mm,
there's a big time jump when we get to the semifinals.
right.
And the reason why is because both Mistress and Ginger have lost weight
Yeah.
and their faces have changed.
Yeah.
Their bodies have changed, which now is very intriguing to me as to how they're going to do in the
Mm-hmm.
semifinals, because if they had existing outfits, they have to be taken in, or if they
Mm-hmm.
have new things made, they have to like literally have them made fresh, authentic for like their new body size.
Right.
That being said, I subscribe to Race Chaser, but I've been working a ton, so I haven't had a chance to keep up with my podcast. And apparently, Willem pointed out that Denali's hair length
Uh-huh.
changed in confessional. So
Right.
when she's on the show in the bracket, her hair doesn't reach her shoulders, but
Yeah.
then it does in confessional.
Mm-hmm.
And my theory is that's because she taped her confessionals at semifinals,
Mm.
which means she's the wild card queen that they bring back as judges.
Right. That's something that's been talked about. There were theories that she had was going to make the bracket, like she was going to win,
Right,
like she was the third spot,
right.
and
Which
I
is
was like, okay,
what I thought I saw as the giveaway or spoiler screenshot was that it
right,
was Ginger, Daya, Denali. But then when it
right,
played out and they gave their points to Cynthia and Cuckoo came in third, I was like, oh, so was that someone screwing around and like, using Photoshop and manipulating a still image? I don't know.
yeah, it's possible. I will say it's not I don't hate it, but again, it was a really big misstep because you can tell in the like there are earlier confessionals of Denali with the shorter hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are later ones with the longer ones, and you can see them like they intersperse throughout these three bracket episodes. And I'm kind of like, either you're intentionally leaving something for us to like suss out, or you're you don't care,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of what it's feeling like. Yeah,
But it's
I just.
also very notable
Hmm.
because so on average the human hair, sorry, these are weird factoids I learned a long time ago. On average, the human hair grows 1/64th of an inch a day. So in 64 days or 2 months, you will grow an inch of hair.
Mm.
So her hair grew a bunch between
Hmm.
when she was on for the bracket and then this later whenever she did her pickups, we'll call them.
Hmm.
So that's a chunk of time. It was at least two
Hmm.
months, if not 3 to 4,
Right.
which lines up more with the whole why Mistress and Ginger look different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even if they were on the Monjaro zip bound Wegovy train, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and getting the GLP-1 medications to improve their health, you don't lose a significant amount of weight very rapidly. Like you can, but like you have to do a whole bunch of things concurrent.
Right.
So, I don't know. I find it intriguing and interesting, and I'm in agreement that with what I was saying. I think Denali is the wild
The
card.
wild card. Yeah. I could see
Um,
that being the case. I would
yeah.
be, and like I said, I would be fine with that. I do wonder if I'm wondering why there was if there was a gap and why there was a gap.
Right.
Because like, did something happen? Am I missing something? Did something happen in LA? I was thinking about the wildfires, but no, that was earlier this year. That wasn't. That doesn't really wouldn't have affected it. Um, there's a part of me that's wondering, was it something to do with like this is me pulling things out of thin air. Like, did it have something to do with Lydia? Because she had, only 5 days prior to jumping back on. Did we have to give her time to get some more stuff because she's now a semifinalist?
Well, did they film these backwards?
Yeah.
Like,
Or break it up.
Did the purple bracket go first,
Mm.
and then pink, and then orange? No.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that still works as a theory, because then this last group we saw was done first, then Mistress's group, and then Bosco's group. And I don't think for Aja, Bosco, and Irene there was a lot of change that I have caught yet in how they look.
Yeah. Although actually there was a bit of a change in Irene in that most recent episode, the previews, because I think she got her haircut.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly, this is me. I'm vague remembering.
Right, but there could, the way the production put it together, they might have told them from the very beginning, you're going to be doing brackets, there will be groups of queens, and then those that move on will have an opportunity, like you're going to have an intentional break, maybe a month, and then when we bring everybody back, so you can get more outfits made, or you know what I mean, or whatever.
Yeah.
Based on these things, like that small break, I guess is what I'm calling it, could have been intentional. And if you were in the very first bracket, you have the most advantage of time on your side, that you're coming back and could be doing something else. I don't know. So it's a theory on my part, especially if they did film them in backwards order to when they were actually shown, then that would mean that that Cynthia, Daya, and Ginger were first. Sorry, I was just thinking about it. So I just want to say this. There definitely, obviously, was a time jump, but I also think there might have been a very subtle giveaway that Cynthia was going to move on, because in confessionals, her face looks a little fuller, a little rounder. And I kind of wondered about that throughout this bracket, about how I kept seeing that she looked like she'd put some weight on, which was confounding me. There was also not a very flattering, there was a really super unflattering camera shot in Untucked in this last episode, where she had this big roll under her arm. She was sitting on the couch, she leaned back or whatever, and I was like, guys, come on, she doesn't want anybody to see that. So anyways, yeah, I don't know. I'm now really, really interested. And of course, now there's the drama in the workroom when they bring all the queens together. They all have attitudes and this and that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That was intentionally shown to get people to be interested to see the semifinals.
They had to do something.
Yeah, especially since Ginger seems to be the front runner, period, and everyone thinks it's just a shoo-in that she's going to win it.
Right.
So, but I don't know. There are some spicy contestants. And I do not rule out Bosco. By any means of the imagination.
Oh, no.
And Georges is super obviously Mom's favorite.
Yeah.
So
I would be.
I think she better watch. She's got some people that are going to be highly competitive and challenging.
Yeah, I don't see. So looking at who's in there, you've got at least 5 people who made it to finales, if I'm not mistaken. I think you do.
Bosco.
Give me a second. Bosco, Ginger, Georges made it to the finale of All Stars.
Right.
Daya made it to finale, and Mistress made it to finale. Sorry, I'm trying to jump to the wiki. Daya made it to a finale, Ginger made it to a finale, made it to a couple of finales.
Right.
Georges kind of made it to the finale of All Stars 9. Um, uh, Mistress made it to the finale, and then Bosco made it to a finale. Yeah, so you've got some queens that have made it to like in the end, in a way.
Right.
And that's very interesting.
Right.
Oh, I guess Georges didn't make it. I thought she did. No, it was Vanessa. That's me. My problem. My fault. It was Vanessa, Angeria, and Roxy. That were the finales of the top 3 of that All Stars.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so
but close enough.
Yeah, I do think it'll be very interesting to see how this goes. I also have no idea how many more episodes are left in the season.
Me neither.
Like, I don't think it. I think the semifinals are going to be 2 episodes. But that's just me because there's 9/10 queens.
Right.
And I haven't heard yet, officially that it's going to be a Lynx like Lollapalooza SmackDown to get to the final, like 2 or 3.
I think there's a lip sync. There's a finale lip sync because that's what they keep talking about.
Correct. Yeah. So, when we figure that out, you'll see us again. In the meantime, you can go visit our blog at cubsoutloud.com. You can leave us a comment there. You can also shoot us an email, cubsoutloud@gmail.com. You can call us and leave us a voicemail at 361-COL Talk. That's 361-265-8255. You can also search social media and look up Cubs Out Loud as one word. If you want to join our Telegram chat, you can go to tinyurl.com/telegram, TELEGRAM -COLDR. You could also see when we're going to be doing the main live shows on our Google Calendar. That's tinyurl.com/calendar-COL. If you are interested in supporting us, there's a couple ways to do it. One of them is to go buy merch. You go to zazzle.com/cubsoutloud and you can become a triplet. Just like us. We're twinsies today. We're wearing our t-shirt that says, whatever the queens say these days, because there's always some quippy, funny thing that they're trying to make happen.
Fact.
Like fetch. All right. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/cubsoutloud for $1 or more a month. You can help support us and keep the lights on, as we like to say. You can also give us a tip. One-time donation, paypal.me/cubsoutloud. We will gladly take your donation to the cause. And if you want to find us, you can pretty much find the Cubs Out Loud Drag Race RSS feed on any of your podcast platforms. Just put in Cubs Out Loud Drag Race, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Damon, if people want to get in touch with you, where would they find you?
If you wish to get in touch with me, you can find me as TheaterCub79. That's TheaterCub79 on most related sites. You can find me as PupUmbra79 on Blue Sky, or you can find me as PupUmbra79 on Blue Sky. That's not safe for work. For the safe for work stuff, you want to go to DMAGamer79, which is on Blue Sky, TikTok, etc.
Okay. If you want to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as GearBear73. And with that, we will say goodbye for now. We will see you soon, in a couple weeks, presumably, once we know what's happening and or we have a winner.
Girl.
I don't know. It's this season's a whole mystery. It's not traditional by any means. So
no, it is not.
We will see where that goes. But until then, y'all stay safe and stay cool out there in the summer, kids.